Today we're going to replace these old door seals with this new one right here. Well, what's the point? What's the big deal about these? Well, here's what the big deal is. You can see that this illuminates. I've hooked it up to a battery source here, and this doesn't. These illuminated door sills here came as an option for the Audi R8, and I was lucky enough to score myself a set of brand new ones from the factory. So we're going to figure out how to wire a 12-volt source from the car to here. So this will illuminate whenever we open the door. So let's take a look at these seals real quick. The original seals that came with my car is up top, and these are the illuminate seals here. Very interesting that the top silver part is actually closer to the edge of the seal here versus the silver part is in the middle. So it's just very interesting to see how Audi designed it when they decided to add diodes underneath this silver piece right here. Now the first step is to open your door and pop this seal out. I already did this. Just take a trim tool like this, snake this underneath, and then start popping this out. There will be clips that you will clip off, and then you'll see this area right here. Next, you're going to want to take off this trim piece here that is lining the inner edge of your door seal here. And just really take your hand or a trim tool and just really pull hard directly up top here, and then you'll pop off these clips here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. There's a fifth one. I broke this one. So yes, expect to break 1 or 2 of these plugs here that is holding this trim piece onto the car. You're gonna have to just go to your dealership and get these plugs here. I will put in the part number for these plugs in the video description. After that, you're also going to want to take off the rear shelf here to expose this entire area, because we're going to be snaking our 12-volt wire back through here. There is actually a vent here that you can snake through, so you don't have to drill a hole from here to here in order to be able to snake your power wire through here. Next up, we're going to need to take off this rocker panel right here along the outside edge here, because we need to take this off in order to be able to go and snake our wires in order to be able to find that ventilation hole, so we can then snake our power wire through here, and then our plug could rest inside here. And there are 2 sets of screws that you need to take off. You need to use, I think these are T30 bolts here that you need to take off here, as well as this bolt right here to the back of the car, this bolt right here towards the front of the car, and then a bunch of bolts that align the bottom of this rocker panel right here. So the rocker panel has been removed. Now let's zoom in here. We need to remove this plastic adapter bracket here that hooks into the car itself, and then these little teeth here hook into that rocker panel that you saw behind me. Now, I've already taken out all the screws. They are T20 screws actually, and let's just take them out, what they look like right here. Now let's see here what we're dealing with here. This is what the seal looks like without all of that plastic. So if you notice, there is this hole here for the mount, and there's this hole here for the mount here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this mount hole. You see there's enough tolerance because it's more oval here versus circular here. I have enough room to snake a wire through here and run that whole entire wire up here, and then be able to connect the door sill with this connector, and it should end around here. I did notice there is some sort of stamped circle here, and it's up to you if you want to actually drill into, yeah, I think this is aluminum here, if you want to drill into it. For me, I rather just use this hole and snake everything through without having to drill into here. Again, it's up to you. So let's talk about the power signal. The power signal will be fed from the footwell light that is underneath here. It's pretty deep in here. There's a footwell light. It activates whenever you open the door and then deactivates when you close the door. Makes sense, right? Now, on certain cars like the R8 GT, they do not have a footwell light. And if you happen to have a car that does not have a footwell light here, well then I believe the next best power wire that you can tap into is this puddle light here. There's a puddle light right here that you can tap power into, and this will activate whenever the door is open. And how you do that is, well, you need to start tracing some wires and then probably access the power wire and that is going from the car to here, and then yeah, you'll be able to tap this in and then away you go. So I've hooked up my scope, and you can see here there is a little arrow here. Well, that is my fishing hook here that I'm hooked in, and this is where you need to snake in your power wire. If I can sneak it. All right, so I got my fish hook out, so you can see this hole right here. This is a vent hole that will vent out the positive air pressure from the cabin. So we're gonna snake our wire through here, and then the wire will get snaked out through here, and then we're gonna just wire it up, and it will end up around this area right here. So that is where you would wire up the door sills. So let me go in and show you again with my flashlight and my fish hook so you can see what's going on inside this area right here. Of course you're gonna need to peel apart this carpet area to be able to access this hole right there. And right here, you see I'm moving my fish hook here, so the wire will come through here. It's gonna take a 90-degree bend, and we'll be able to go in and fish that line out all the way through here and proceed to hook up the power and the ground for our LED. So let's now talk about the wiring. This is the connector that would go into the power source on the car, and this will be the connector that goes towards the footwell light right here. So I'm going to create an adapter harness. So this will be power. Yellow is power, which goes to pin number 2, and we're going to solder the power wires accordingly. Here, this goes to pin number 2 towards the footwell light, and then this connector will then connect to the door sill here, and again power will go to pin number 2 right here. So let's assume that I am soldering everything up here. Here you go. All these 3 wires will get soldered up, as well as the ground wires on pin number 1. And really that is the wiring harness. Again, if you're trying to make this yourself, you're trying to figure out what these part numbers are, these connector numbers here, I will include a link to the write-up that will have the part numbers in the video description. So that is the plan to hook up the power to the illuminated seal. We're going to now go ahead and measure how long the wire length is required from the source, the 12-volt source of the car, all the way to the door sill. So we'll then be able to solder up the wires and create our adapter harness. So in order to access the footwell light and cable around here, you're going to need to remove this lower cover here, and it's basically 6 or 7 screws, T25 screws, and it's pretty simple, straightforward. Unzip those bolts and you'll be able to drop this down here and then have access to the footwell connectors right around here. So everything is wired up. You see this is the footwell light here, that works. And right here, it works. So this is how it's wired up. You can see here, right here, goes through here, through the vent hole, all the way up around here, wire loops through here, and then we terminate and there are connections over here. So that is how you would wire these sills. Now the passenger side should be the same procedure. We remove the various trim pieces like this part, the rocker panels, and then snake the power line up through around back here, and then snake this all the way along, and then you can then hook up to the footwell light underneath here that you can see. Again, just remove a couple of screws down here and you should be able to access that power connector too. So I'm gonna go wrap up. I'm going to finish up and reassemble the driver's side here. It's pretty simple. You just really pop everything back and reinstall all the trim, all of the plastic handles and adapters, as well as the rocker panels, and then we just rinse and repeat on the passenger side. As always, if you enjoyed this content, I would appreciate the like and of course a subscribe if you can spare, please. I would really appreciate it. And yeah, see you guys next time.